Hi, it's Kirch again, and tonight we're going to go over what does a landlord look for when you rent an apartment. Renting an apartment is going to have tons of benefits, so if you know what you're talking about, know how to talk to a landlord, you're going to be very successful. Tonight, we're going to tell you what a landlord looks for when it comes to renting an apartment for an Airbnb. So when we go in, you're going to be sounding like you're experienced, even if it's your first one, and you're going to be able to talk with confidence and know what you're talking about. So the landlord will lease you the unit, so you won't have to buy a unit, and you can get up and running in 30 days or less. One of the things when you're looking for a unit and you're going to go talk to a landlord, you have to understand what a landlord is looking for. If you go in, for one, they're probably not even going to know what a nightly rental is. So, and you may not even want to say nightly rental. You just, the biggest thing you're going to do is say you're by a hospital, you're going to tell the landlord, hey, I am renting this apartment for visiting nurses in the area to rent and be able to go to the hospital. So those are the kind of clients I'm going to be putting in your rental. The first thing they're going to ask you, well, who am I getting the rent from? You're going to probably want to put it in a corporation, but what you have to realize when you do a corporation, the landlord is going to expect you to sign the lease with your name. Can use a corporation, but they're going to want your name on it too to make sure that the unit is secure. So that's the first thing. They're going to want to make sure they get the rent. So you got to assure the landlord that they're going to get the rent every month. Then the landlord's going to say, what are the benefits for me to rent to you? And you've got to be able to know the benefits. And there are huge benefits for a landlord. The first benefit is you're going to do minor repairs in the unit. You're going to keep his unit by far better than any unit he's got in the building. And you've got to convey that to him. You have to tell him that you're coming in probably putting $20 a square foot into the unit in improvements before you even move in. So that, that's a benefit to the landlord. Then you want to explain to the landlord that you've got security issues in the unit that he doesn't have in his units right now. You've got cameras on the outside of the units. So when people come in and out, you know who's coming in and out. You've already screened the tenant probably better than he has before they even come in the unit. So now you're keeping track who's coming in, who's coming out. You want security features like, for example, you have CO detectors and you have your own smoke detectors hooked to an alarm system. So if there's any fire, if there's any CO, you're going to know right away because it's hooked to the fire department and you're going to get calls right away. Before the landlord even knows there's a possible fire in the building, you're going to know. You're going to have a noise aware system in the unit. If there's a party going in the unit, you're going to know there's a party going in the unit, and with your lease with the tenant, you can go there and kick the tenant out instantly. It's not like a landlord, he has to go through a 30-day eviction process. You can have them out within an hour or less. So you have to convey that to the landlord so he feels better about the whole thing. It's you're not going to have turnover. You're going to rent this unit from the landlord and rent it forever, and he's not going to have turnover. You're going to have the unit cleaned professionally a few times a week. So his unit is going to be cleaner than probably any unit in the building. So if you could give the landlord a warm, fuzzy belly rub that he's not going to have any problems out of your unit's a place that he will live in, he will not give you a hard time. Let me give you a scenario of what a landlord does not want. I know I just talked to one of the people that I do some business with, and they just started their own Airbnb. And I said to them, did you put all the alarm systems in? Well, we didn't want to spend the money on it. So, here's what's going to happen. They're going to get somebody coming in, throwing a party. And they're not going to know about it. Who's going to know about it? The other tenants are going to call the police, going to call the landlord, then the landlord's going to call them to tell them that their tenant's throwing a party. Is that how you want to find out you have a party in your unit? The landlord gets enough of those phone calls. What do you think he's going to do? He's not going to let the other tenants get upset. He's going to get rid of you as a tenant. At the end of the lease, he's not going to renew it. You've got a lot of money in the unit. You've got a lot of income potential on the unit, and you're going to lose your lease. So have the equipment you need. You know, the other thing, there are people out there that will look for units that don't have alarm systems on and don't have cameras. You'll get somebody renting a unit and they will have a guest every half hour all night long. So in a 12-hour period, they might have 24 guests. If they have 24 guests, would you think that maybe they might be doing something illegal? If they're doing something illegal and all this traffic's in and out of the building, slamming doors, and if they don't get paid for whatever they're doing, maybe there's a fight, maybe somebody calls the police, and you're not going to know any of this. Do you really want to go there? So if you're going to do a nightly rental, you have to have it set up right. Here's another instance that you could tell your landlords on the kind of tenants that they can get. I have a tenant right now on my nightly rental that's renting it for 3 months. What's interesting about it, I actually had a problem in the unit, went out to the unit the other day and got talking to him. He brought his 10-year-old son up, and him and his 10-year-old son are renting the unit for 3 months. His son is at the Paramount Arts Center right now in one of the Disney plays, and he's playing one of the kids. So they're here because it's a 3-month-long play. He's here for 3 months renting the unit for his son. So I asked him, well, what kind of work do you do? Right now, they're renting a studio apartment. It's small. And he tells me they're from Florida, and he's an immigration lawyer. So you've got an immigration lawyer renting a studio apartment for 3 months. Do you think they cause any trouble in the unit? And what's nice too is the unit is set up with a desk and Wi-Fi. So his son is on Wi-Fi every night doing his homework for school because they've got an online class for him so he can come up here and do it. So these are the kind of tenants that you can get to rent. And do you think I would ever get an immigration lawyer to rent a studio apartment? Not in a million years. But they're going to be there for 3 months. And, you know, they've been there a month and a half. They're wonderful tenants. So these are the kind of tenants you can expect to get. And we've got a traveling nurse. She just asked if we could rent to her for 3 months because she's working at one of the local hospitals. She's willing to pay $1,400 a month for a studio apartment. Unfortunately, the first guy's not moving out quick enough for her to move in, so I had to pass her on to someone else. But, you know, a nurse she's a traveling nurse. It's probably $30, $40, $50 an hour. And you think she's going to cause us any trouble? No. So these are the kind of tenants you need to explain to the landlord that you're going to get.